On top of that, you have the logistics of making a documentary too.
Yeah.
So you have your head in like different worlds here. You're a documentarian, but you're also a feature maker as well. How do you get, how do you have the two crews working at the same time? How much do you give out like certain amount of uh, power or charge to your documentary crew to make decisions on their own so you can focus on your own thing? Or are you just as much hands-on on the days in regards to that stuff as well? Or is the documentary more done in post than it does is on the day itself? I'm really curious about the
Yeah, yeah.
dynamic there.
I would say it's probably 50-50. So Max, the DOP, and I every morning on the way to set would call because we have like half hour drive, hour drive, and I will just list through like I would say like well we've got this scene which could be important. We've got this funny dinosaur scene which could be funny and interesting, and then we'll just discuss how each of those scenes could or would be shot. And then also what the previous sort of days sort of story beats were, and we have conversations with the producer and all that too. But that's more specifically just Max on those days, like on the morning drives. And then we'll kind of come up with a sort of loose game plan, because at the end of the day it's documentary. We have no idea what's going to happen. Like we might not get to shoot at all that day because it's going to rain, or the asylum guys hated what we shot the previous day. We might have to reshoot that. We just had no idea. So we try to plan as much as we could on those drives. And then Trav, the sound guy, had this really great idea because I was mic'd up anyway. He gave each of the producers and the documentary crew in-ear monitors, so they could at all times hear me. But I also sent them a feed from the other characters, the other sort of actors and crew. So they had like much more awareness of what was going on than I did. So they could come and say like, "Oh, this is happening over here. Should we go see what that is?" But the other benefit of that was that I could say, "I'm going to go speak to this person now. Like, I think this could be an interesting thing to capture." And then him and Brad, the B cam operator, had sort of like game plans where if I was, they'd know to cross shoot certain scenes or know what sort of coverage they could, they like sort of like code words between them on how to get the coverage that they needed. So that's kind of how we managed the production. Everything prior to and after the sort of shoot was quite simple because we could stop and start. Like if it was just an
Hmm.
interview, I could turn to Max and be like, "Oh, hey, we should like get that again," and that's fine. But it was just the actual like 6 day shoot was quite chaotic in that essentially directing two films at the same time. Um, but then in post was when we really started to pick and choose because there's so much so much happens over a week. There's like we had dozens of hours of footage, so we kind of really crafted. We had an idea of what the story was in our heads, but like kind of really crafted the specifics of the story in post. Yeah, so it's a bit 50-50, I'd say.
Thank you for watching the Matt's Movie Reviews channel. Please subscribe for more reviews, podcast interviews, and exclusive content.